real fast. I'm actually headed out the door to ship off 2 pairs of sneakers that are going to new homes. Why? Because I wasn't wearing them a whole lot. And yes, one of them is probably a pair you never thought I would sell. I never thought I would sell, but here we are. We're in a different day. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. And I love it. Now, if you've been here for some time, at least since the start of 2024, then you know I've already been on this journey of selling off a lot of my sneakers. I sold 98 pairs last year. I'm not sure where I'll land at the end of 2025, but I noticed something really interesting in sharing this journey and this shift. I've never said I'll just stop buying altogether, nor have I ever said that you should just stop buying sneakers altogether. I've slowed down. I've never said you should slow down. I've shifted how I buy sneakers, the intentionality that I have, maybe different things that I'm looking for, especially if it's at a certain price point. But I don't assume or think that you too should adopt those exact same principles or the same approach. I would never think that because we're not the same people, but people assume that. I've noticed that. They've partly assumed that in videos. They've let me know in the comments that no YouTuber will tell me to stop buying sneakers. Although this YouTuber didn't tell them to stop buying sneakers. I simply just shared with you what I am choosing to do because it's quite the opposite. I would certainly never tell all of you, let's just stop buying sneakers as a whole, because that would be devastating for a few reasons.
2,000 years later.
Okay, so I'm back from dropping off 2 pairs. Actually quite happy to have those 2 pairs gone just because they weren't really being worn, and now they can go to homes where they will certainly be appreciated on a more consistent basis. So I think in a recent video, or maybe in a video after this, I'm not sure when this is coming out, I've had to just film a hodgepodge of things, but I actually touch on a Fear of God 1 leaving my collection. Would I ever pay what I paid for that shoe? So again, hopefully if that video is already out, you checked it out. If not, you can watch it at a later date, depending on if this drops first. But yeah, we know the changes that I've made, but I've never thought, my goodness, like everyone should make this change. And for a really good reason. We are in a catch-22 when it comes to the consumerism cycle that not only sneakers exist in, but everything in general, really, when it comes to like material items, but certainly fashion. And so there was a book that caught my eye. I read it last year. One of the best books I've ever read. Okay. So it's called The Day the World Stopped Shopping. It's by J.B. McKinnon. It's a really great read. I would recommend it. So we're just going to go through a few things here and how they apply to sneakers and how they apply to me saying, again, I think it would be a very bad thing if everyone took an approach like me and buying far less pairs. Now, of course, we have consumers broken down into, different types. You have those that are maybe only buying 0 to 3 pairs a year, and they're very functional and very intentional. It's an everyday pair. It's likely a performance pair, and then maybe like their special sneaker, so to speak. And then you have some that maybe they're buying, I don't know, max of 6 a year. They're very much so still into the culture. They appreciate it. Maybe they've been in it for a while and they've just backed up. They've taken a seat on their consumption. That's where I stand right now. And then you have others, maybe they're just getting into it. So they are really they are mesmerized, likely in 2025 too, just by so much. Also, random Topo Chico. So amazing. Okay, I'm going to get that out of frame now. But they are amazed. They're mesmerized right now by everything being offered on the market because some are arguing this is the greatest year that we've ever seen in sneakers. And that's coming from people that have been in this for 20, 30, maybe even 40 years. So that says a lot. But you also then have the consumer where they are so true to buying a pair every single week. They think a weekend is dry if they haven't spent money on a sneaker. They actually speak on it feeling like the longest week because they haven't spent any money. They haven't purchased anything. Do I think that's normal? Maybe not the healthiest thing if we were to take a really big step back, but it is normal in the consumerism that we exist in. Look at Amazon and how many of us just anticipate packages coming to our doorsteps every single day. And I'm not saying that it's not one of the most convenient things ever, because especially as a creator, when you forget something, you're in need of something and you don't have time to spare, and maybe your local store doesn't have it, it comes in clutch. It really does, especially if you are traveling or something. It comes in so clutch. So there are types of consumers, especially in sneakers. If we were all just to stop, though, the devastation And I didn't need to say it. He actually says it here in the book, right? So we're just going to go through a few of the notes that I have because I like to take notes, okay, when I'm reading. So he says the new elephant in the boardroom equals consumption. And I think this, again, is another catch-22 for likely brands. You rely on your customers, you rely on your consumers to keep your business going. You rely on them spending money so that you can continue to make whatever it is that you're making and continue to uphold the livelihoods of those who contribute to whatever it is that you're making, not only here domestically, but overseas as well in foreign countries. So you have to find the right price to meet demand. It's always tricky. That's why individuals get paid a lot to figure that out. However, if we reach a point or if you push prices too high to a point and inflation is already occurring and wages are certainly not keeping up, then or you have to know your consumers are not going to be able to keep up, which means they're not going to be able to buy your product, which means you're going to have to still somehow maintain the bottom line, which means you are likely going to end up cutting people because you can't even earn enough or make enough profit that maybe you want. It's really just what shareholders want for you to generate, again, providing a livelihood for the people that work for you. So you end up cutting them. It's always profit over people. Okay. Let's just be clear. It's always profit over people. And so brands can't they can't outprice the actual consumers they want to attract. But then again, we see that happening. So it's like, as a brand, you really don't have to care about the bottom line of your consumers, but you should care about the bottom line because in the event their own household is suffering, what do you think is going to happen to your company? Now, very likely, if you're into sneakers, you may know someone who works at a brand, works at a retailer, someone that's adjacent to the industry. And you certainly would care about them, their livelihood. You would want them to do well, be able to provide for themselves, fulfill their hopes and dreams, whatever it may be, send their kids to college. I think about that when I think about if everyone were to just take the approach, let's just slow down or let's just stop shopping altogether, their livelihoods would cease to exist. They would. And with tariffs already in effect, I mean, you saw the hit that Adidas took in the stock market, and they were already laying people off as a FYI. So it would be devastating. And again, smarter words to back up what I think, because I had already thought about that. People are like, I would never let some YouTuber tell me to stop buying sneakers. I'm not telling you to. It would actually be a massive mistake if people continue to do what I do in terms of pulling back. Like the Foot Lockers, the JD Sports, yeah, they would suffer. So actually said that, stop shopping for a week. It would become a market event. If we stop shopping for a month, an industry could fall apart. Think about that. Truly think about that. So if there were 48 hours of no shopping, he said that tens of millions would be affected. But when it comes to where the effect would be felt first, Amazon would be the first one if it was just a worldwide thing. But because again, home consumer goods. But as we're moving towards, again, I think worser times, things that are considered luxuries suffer. So I'm already apprehensive. I'm already kind of holding my breath to see how does this suffering play out. If certain things are considered luxury goods. The Minnesota Wolves, I think, just started laying off individuals. I think we're going to see that with a lot more teams, a lot more industries, a lot more lanes and sectors. I don't think that it matters. If something is a luxury, if you don't have disposable income, you don't spend on that item. That's just common sense. That's just how it is. So if pockets are hit hard, and let's say we were to stop shopping for 48 hours, it would have a devastating ripple effect through everything. You got to remember, it's not just the sneaker in your hand. That spiders out to everything. That spiders out to those that are actually manufacturing the materials to go to the factories, to make the shoes, to then transport the shoes over here. Every single part that is involved in that sneaker would suffer. Now, they said the one thing that actually wouldn't suffer, wouldn't have an immediate blow, would be our own closets. Because they said, and it's based on the fact that 6 out of 10 articles of clothing end up in a dump. As much as we will try to donate our clothing or pass it along maybe, or sell it and give it a second home, the clothing usually just still ends up in a dump. And that is a hard reality to deal with. I don't think sneakers are much different. They take forever to break down. But they said, your wardrobe hasn't even begun to shrink if we were to buy half as many clothes as what we do. The world economy would suffer greatly, but your closet would be fine. So I bought far fewer clothes and sneakers than I bought in recent years, especially since 2020. My closet is still doing just fine. You could still shop in there. A few of you could shop in there right now. I'm a little embarrassed by that. You know why it's tough? I think it's tough because you as a consumer, it may be in your best interest, again, as an individual consumer, to pull back on buying as many sneakers because you either maybe you want to pay down high consumer debt, you would like to pay down your student loans, pay off your car, get out of credit card debt, pay off those buy now, pay later loans. And if you're on that road, I 1000% support you on that road. Some of you have shared your financial milestones or what you're aiming towards right now, and I'm so proud of you. If it's not a sneaker, great for you. The shoes will be there. I promise you, the shoes will be there. We've seen things retro we never thought would retro. The shoes will be there. So just so you know, I'm proud of you. You can be doing everything that you need to do for your bottom line, but in the event you focus so much on your own well-being, if everyone did that, because again, credit card debt is at it's high, average 8,000, which means there are some households that are buying sneakers every single weekend. They are in that number. Some they have to be in that number. If you were to focus on your own well-being and pull back heavily on what you're spending and buying less of these sneakers, your bottom line would improve. But then on the flip side, it could somehow have a ripple effect of it not improving or just being stagnant because the downfall of all of these retailers and brands, again, it would cascade everywhere. It would trickle down somehow. So taking care of your own bottom line can somehow hurt another's bottom line. And like you think about that because you don't want to aid in the destruction of just people losing their livelihood. You don't. And I just want to go over this again. So they said, hey, the end of growth is not necessarily the end, they say, of economics, right? Because we could certainly pull back, still consume, because we're always going to consume. We're inherent consumers by nature, but it could just not be as much as what it is, right? Again, I pulled back, not as much as what it is, still consuming. But they said, hey, if we were to all just stop shopping, think about this, we were to all just stop buying sneakers, economy stops growing and shrinks. Let's just look at the ecosystem of sneakers, right? So that stops growing and it shrinks. Imploding markets, all the markets that are associated with, of course, footwear. Rampant joblessness. Not that we aren't already headed there. Shuttered storefronts. We're seeing, think about how many resale shops popped up in 2020. How many of those are not here anymore because people are simply not willing to pay the prices across the board like that, like they were before. People are not willing to pay what they paid for a Panda Dunk. Okay, those days are over, as they should be, as they should be. And then like broken supply chains and surcharges and fuel and all of that is going to go up to some degree. And brands end up having to eat that like they really do. So what I'm saying, okay, slowing down can be great. It can be healthy. And if individually it's something you feel compelled to do, and hey, you feel supported over here, awesome. I love it. If you are not in that place and you want to keep on buying, by all means, please do. Because as crazy as it sounds, the individuals that are chasing these pairs every single week, and I'm not talking about the creators, actually just the consumers, do you know what? They're showing up, they're showing out, they're buying a lot of these collabs, they're buying a lot of these GRs. It means that the numbers are moving, which means that they continue to produce more product, they continue to employ individuals, and it may very well be friends and family or people that you care about. It's a crazy cycle. I don't have the answers because I don't know the perfect mix or blend. I just know what I can do for me in this time and at this chapter in my life right now. So that is pulling back some, selling sneakers I never thought I would sell, not having any regrets about them because it feels really good. I feel really at peace with it and enjoying the new pairs, the new phase that I'm in. Maybe it's not a Fear of God one right now anymore, right? Maybe it's a P6000. Maybe it's a Adrenaline GTS4. Who knows? But if we are going to continue to consume the way we consume, is it then on us to hold brands accountable for quality control? That video is up because I am curious, would you send a grill back if the quality is so terrible? So thank you so much for tuning into this video. I know it might have been a little bit different, not what everyone wants to hear or see. So if you stay till the end, I really appreciate you. As always, act your age, not your shoe size. Peace.